Hi, welcome back to my channel. This book review is for The Sunshine Girls by Molly Fader. Now, in this book, we have our two principal characters, at least when we look back into 1967 Iowa, and that would be Betty Kay and Kitty. Now, they only met because they were both in nursing school, and they were living, I don't know if they called them dorms, but they were living in the same residence, and they became friends, as different as they were. For Betty Kay, her family did not want her to go into nursing, but that was what her choice was. For Kitty, she thought that she wanted to be a nurse, but she kind of was reaching for the stars. I can't really point that high, but I mean for the video, but she wanted something different. In fact, the question is, did Kitty get what she wanted, and did Betty Kay manage to find her career and to fulfill her career as a nurse? Now, they didn't even make it a year into nursing school before something happened. But before I can tell you what it was that happened, we're going to jump ahead. Now remember, 1967, when they were in nursing school, but the story is a dual timeline story, and it's talking now 2019. Now, there are two sisters, Clara and Abby, and their mother, Betty Kay, has passed away. Where did you hear the name Betty Kay? She was one of the nurses back in 1967. All those years later, now she's passed away. So these two girls, or women, are arranging, have her funeral going on, but somebody shows up at the funeral. And her name is Kitty. Yes, the Kitty that went to nursing school with Betty Kay. Long story short, Kitty knew a lot about the girls, a lot about them, and she knew even more about their mother. But when you read in this story, you read about why it is that, or you'll learn that the two daughters, Clara and Abby, had no knowledge of Kitty. So when you're reading the story, and I'm just going to use my hands, when you're reading the story and you're getting snippets of the past, and then you're looking at the present, and then you look at the narration, like for example, when Kitty starts to relay certain things about her shared past with Betty Kay, you're looking as a reader for this mystery to unravel. Because if somebody was my best friend and it was decades later, you would think my children, as adults, would know who that best friend was or what my history was. But that doesn't turn out to be the case in this book. There's a void, there's a gap. And even though there was a void, even though there was a gap, Betty Kay and Kitty forged a very, very powerful bond, despite all the decades that passed before Betty Kay passed away. Now, when you try to dissect the mystery as to why Kitty wasn't in Betty Kay's everyday life, or Kitty's adult children didn't know, Betty Kay's adult children didn't know much at all about Kitty, what you're going to start to unravel in this book is secrets and lies of the past, but it's time to open up that Pandora's box and deal with some difficult answers. And that's what the Sunshine Girls was about. And just as Betty Kay and Kitty had problems back in 1967, in present day, when Clara and Abby are setting up or working towards their mother's funeral, there's friction that exists between them. A lot of friction. And what I like about that, not that there's friction, that's not what I'm about to say, but multi-layered. The past, the present, the hidden friendship, secrets, lies, and situations that needed to be sorted out. Then you have the dynamic between Clara and Abby. And then there's the question of, is there going to be a dynamic between Clara and Kitty, or Abby and Kitty, or both of those sisters and Kitty? Molly Fader just hit it out of the park. She pulled me into this story and grabbed me and made me sit down and read it from cover to cover because I wanted to see what it was that drove Kitty and Betty Kay apart. But then there's just something in this book when I was reading it that left me with questions. So the deeper I got into this book, the more everything started to level out and the more those questions started to be made clear. But the surprises were huge. Very, very big. So excellent book. Definitely going to go 5 stars with it. But I want to thank you for watching. By the way, I think this is a Berkeley publication. Oh, this is Graydon House. This is a Graydon House publication by Molly Fader. So it's not going to be on Kindle Unlimited. It's $10.99, but I have a credit. I thought there was a sale, but it looks like I have a credit. But anyway, it's $10.99, but it's well worth the read. And I wouldn't be surprised if your library or your Audible or your audiobook.com or Scribd, check it out. Let me know if you read this book, if you like women's fiction, if you like dual timeline stories, if you like making peace with the past, and all of those things, then you'll like this book by Molly Fader. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.